nearly 2 weeks. Members of the press, military service members, their families and others criticized the White House for the fact that President Trump hadn't addressed the deaths of 4 soldiers killed in Niger. It came to a head on Tuesday when Trump inaccurately claimed his predecessors had also not called bereaved families. He even went so far as to invoke and politicize the death of his own chief of staff's son who was killed in 2010. He implied that President Obama had never called the Kelly family. It was an ugly day. Then it got uglier. When, under pressure, Trump finally called Army Sergeant LaDavid Johnson's widow, he is reported to have said he knew what he signed up for, but when it happens, it hurts anyway. Think about that. Johnson's widow, Myshia Johnson, is pregnant and has 2 other children. Her husband has just returned home draped in a flag. And the president's response is to call her and say he knew what he signed up for. Manuel Balchez Etap. It's not just the stunning lack of empathy that gets me. We've come to expect that from this president. It's that there's more to it. And we should talk about it. Here's the thing, there's often a misconception among non-veterans that service members sign up with the expectation that they may die. But I can tell you I did 2 tours in combat as an infantry officer and I never met a soldier who thought dying was a reasonable result of his or her service. It's clear why when we look at the numbers since 9/11, roughly 1 of every 5,000 troops serving in Iraq or Afghanistan has died there. 1 out of every 5,000. This makes it clear that dying in combat is neither common nor expected. U.S. Army. But when things do get dicey, troops expect leaders, at every level, to do everything in their power to keep death from happening. Take roadside bombs. When they began killing U.S. troops, President Bush never said they knew what they signed up for. Instead, the Defense Department designed statute of the MRAPs. It was a concerted effort to keep more people from getting killed unnecessarily. And that's what keeps troops going. The knowledge that your life is valuable. That it's not to be wasted. That close air support is inbound. In today's military we say, I will never leave a fallen comrade to fall into the hands of the enemy. We don't say, he knew what he signed up for. And this is not a contemporary idea. In fact, it's long been woven into the fabric of the U.S. military. In his 1959 military classic Starship Troopers, Robert Heinlein characterized it by saying, you knew with utter and absolute certainty that, as long as you were still alive, the lieutenant would not get into the retrieval boat without you. Service members live by the code. After one is killed in action, again, no one ever says he knew what he signed up for. Instead they reflect. What could we have done differently, they ask. How could we have prevented this from happening? WPLG. No one shrugs death off as an inevitability. So when we have a commander-in-chief respond to a combat death by saying, he knew what he signed up for, it tells us a couple of things. First, it tells us the president has no idea how the military works or what his role and responsibilities are. But more importantly, it sends a clear message to U.S. troops: if you're looking for support from the White House, you know what you signed up for. Brandon Friedman is a former Obama administration official and the author of The War One Always Wanted. He served as an infantry officer in the U.S. Army's 101st Airborne Division in Iraq and Afghanistan. Follow him on Twitter at @bfriedmanch.